I don't want to spend 30,000 on the replacement cost, so I'm going to spend 200,000 instead. This is math. Here is my current array. I'm aiming for 1,000 pulls today, and I'll get one from the battle pass next week. So, if everything goes according to plan, I'll be able to replace my 13-star Mulan with yuantiangang. If not, I'm going to pickle the palace in my vinegar tears. Okay, let's go. Hello, sir. Okay, food for my typhoon. Oh yes, I also wrote down a list of inquiries I thought might arise, so I will be discussing them as I pull. Firstly, should I swap to yuantiangang, or under what circumstances should I swap? Well, Detonate is probably the most inflexible archetype in the game. He's kind of a package deal with Pan and Feiyan. If you don't have them, and are not planning on getting them, he's detonating air. Like when Baldie does his 回头是岸, and his whole team is not dead yet, but on the brink of it, and the opponent stuck 90% healing reduction on him. So there's that disclaimer. But you know, if you simply like him, you want him for the beauty meta, okay, maybe he can hold some flowers, right? It's up to you. Okay, one moment please. I'm sorry, I'm misusing Buddhist scriptures. Since I started playing Revenge of the Queen, that line became a bit of a meme in my head. Because back when everyone used him, it was all you would hear, 回头是岸, 回头是岸. If you didn't know, his voice line is an idiom. Literally, it's behind you is the shore, or turn around to see the shore. But it comes from Buddhism, Buddhist teachings, meaning to turn back from the evil path and start anew. It's not too late to repent for past wrongs, right? And I think it's very... oh, there he is. I like his design a lot. I think it's very suitable for him. Yuantiangang's thing is that he was a diviner during the Tang period, which is the dynasty Revenge of the Queen is based on. I think he worked under... was it Taizong? But I imagine the game's story should take place after Wudou dynasty, you know? Okay, the exact timing may or may not align, but anyway, Taizong called for him, Yuantiangang I mean, as well as this guy, Li Chunfeng, who was also a famous astronomer, to... how to say it? Basically map out the future of the nation in a book which was called Tuibeitu, the pushed back picture. And it was called such because, well, they were sat back to back while prophesying to verify their legitimacy, right? And the story is, Li Chunfeng saw so far into the future that Yuantiangang was like, okay, we've done enough, any more will upset the way of the world. And so he pushed Li Chunfeng back to bring him back to the present. So, Tuibeitu. And the book is said to have predicted, like, the rise and fall of dynasties, major disasters, and notably, Wu Ziqian is the only female. I need to stop. You wrote a list. $300 for 5? Okay, wait. Okay, we suffer.
一球无价宝。
船上打开危险路，不入虎穴，焉一箭三雕。
What was I talking about? I do not remember. Oh, well, I guess you can go all in on me with him, right? But who are you replacing Taiping with to clean up after the detonate? Cao Cao? Unless you're a die-hard Cao Cao fan, of which I don't think there are any because Dian Wei is dead, you are paying more for a downgrade. I suppose the optimal composition for fighting would be to put in Zhang Liao instead. His silence might alleviate some of the... Because the problem with the detonate is if you don't win by the end of round 2, you are probably dead. Yuantiangang does 8 of it because he has his soul debris. But the question is, are you surviving to round 5 to consume that? Because for 3 rounds after your burst, you are using your high-speed ankle bite. The opponent will not counterattack, counterattack, counterattack. Your whole team's done. So this is why we value janitors, aka Taiping, in each soul detonate archetype. Thank you, janitors. Gotian can also fulfill this role. But the problem is his, let's say, usefulness is conditional, while Taiping's is not. If the opponent is insanely tanky, or cleanse your eat soul stack, or some other unforeseen circumstance, he can eat bile every day and night, he is still not doing damage. But Taiping is dealing the same numbers regardless, it's simply spread out the more surviving enemies, right? But when he does work, it is very fun and satisfying. I wish I could meet him more often. And there is our 1000. I don't want to keep some for contingency use, so I will stop here. So we got 5 copies. That's so lucky. I am curious, if I put him in resonance, can I still get the skin? Oh, I do. To be honest, I thought Huoyu was stingier than that, but I'm pleasantly surprised. Okay, but I'll just keep him in resonance. I don't need to replace it all. But then what was all of this for? I could have wailed on Curiosity Collector instead. I don't know if I like this composition. His palette is cooler than everyone else's. But the original version might be more aesthetically cohesive. No, but how else will I display my poor decision making? I have to keep the skin. I think over the course of the event, I'll go for 1200 milestone for the next guarantee and see if I can get him to 12 stars. And I did get the skin today. As such, this one shall magnanimously refrain from any pickling. Okay, retrospect showing here. I did not go through my list, so let us speedrun some points I wanted to include. Early composition. Okay, I don't have a symbol. Do I have one in my debris? Perfect, I do. This, I'd say, would be his best team, with Diao Chanfian, Pan, Taiping, where he acts after Pan and before Taiping. Since he can heal, you could theoretically also replace Diao Chen with Sima, but I don't recommend this because Detonate is fragile enough as is, and you would be killing off a universal support in favor of this retired man. But if you were to play this, definitely Sima has to act after Yuantiangang, and the remainder of the rotation is the same as your first ray. What else? With the 5 yin I mentioned, you could swap Taiping for... You could swap Taiping for Zhang Liao. He can act before or after all enemies, so Agile or Tardy Jade. If you're playing Detonate, I assume your base speed is quite high, so go for Agile. And that will also give you a few extra East Soul stacks to Detonate, which will help damage-wise in the absence of Taiping. However, and this applies to all Detonate arrays, this is a high-speed, high-fodder, low error margin composition. I recommend only going for this archetype if you have sufficient investment in your array. So speed is high compared to your peers of similar power in, say, Palace Fight and Rivalry. You're active in various areas of the game. You have suitable jades and boons. Your rotation is correct, and this one is very, very important for Detonate especially. His build is in ROTQ abilities. It's the same as Suma, so if you had him before, you can simply transfer everything. The ambiguous skill rates. His A1 through my experimental testing has about an 81% chance of applying Soul Devourer, which is the debuff that increases each soul damage. His second passive, which applies each soul to 2 enemies at the beginning of the round, I tested about a 76% chance, but I imagine that would drift toward 80 as well if I were to perform more trials, because I only did 50. And there's a note, targets are paired, it has 2 or 0 each soul per yes. So either the passive succeeds and each soul is applied to both, or it fails and no each soul is applied. And I could not test the active 2 because of the chance of the passive applying at the same time as the remnants coming back. His healing is actually stronger than that of Diaoshan. Both skill of max HP, he can heal 18% compared to Diaoshan's 15% at max level. It's a bit unclear because of the translation, but it is the target's max HP, so it's independent of his own attributes except for healing output. And I believe that is everything. Therefore, in conclusion, to summarize, in light of the aforementioned, yuantiangang is worth it if you're committed, questionable if you're not, acceptable always if you think he's pretty. Are you a vague prophecy? Because I'm interpreting our encounter in my favor.